I'm going to refer again to the documentary that you did. It lists these forces of society that are taking us to a bad place. I want to end on this topic. Also in there, I screenshot it. You have a list of things the average person can do to help. And you may not have that front of mind, and we can just serve that up, but it's a really granular and I thought helpful list. I mean, what do I do when I go back to Richmond,
Well, it's a partial list. And again, people, if they go to lettertotheamericanchurch.com, they can see all the places around the country where there are free screenings. They can see the film, they can get the book, they can get the study guide, they can get the DVD. But if you see the film, at the end, there's a list of things, yes, this is what you can do. But it's really a partial list. The real answer to that is anything and everything. God has made each one of us different. So we're not all called to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. But if you're not doing something, you are part of the problem. That is a fact, and people need to understand.
That may be the theme right there.
Well, that's it. If you're not doing something to keep the republic, again, I wrote a book, If You Can Keep It. That's Benjamin Franklin's famous phrase. He leaves the Constitutional Convention and, he's asked, what have you given us, Dr. Franklin, a monarchy or a republic? Because no one had ever created a republic where people govern themselves in the history of the world. And they didn't know. Did they pull it off in that building in Independence Hall in the summer of 1787?
It's amazing.
What happened?
It's amazing.
What have you given us, a monarchy or a republic? A republic, madam, he answers, if you can keep it. In other words, we, the people, must keep the republic, must live out these freedoms in a conscious, active, self-sacrificial way, or it goes away and we become enslaved, either by an authoritarian state or by some tyrant, but you cannot be free unless you work at it. And that's a joy. But if you forget, if you've been given this message, like when George W. Bush said, the best way to fight terrorism is everybody goes shopping. We've got professional military. We've got it covered. No. That's a complete. It kind of reveals his profound misunderstanding of how America and American liberty works. And that's why I wrote Letter to the American Church. That's why I wrote If You Can Keep It, because Os Guinness gave me this idea to really understand how it works. You realize, it requires every one of us to kind of pay into the system, to live my life in such a way that I'm helping keep the republic. By doing nothing, I am helping the republic to go away. I'm helping us to lose our freedoms, which we've seen so dramatically. So ultimately, everyone has to do something. And, I say this as an author. If people will read my books, because I communicate as an author, they will get a lot of this. I write these books to inspire and encourage people because you could talk for days about what you can do, but I think everybody will get a sense of, okay, I need to be involved. And I'll say, finally, the lie that we shouldn't be political, that is a pernicious, horrible lie. Yeah. And many Christians have associated being political with making an idol of politics. That's like being a faithful husband you associate with making an idol of marriage. We should be more worried about neglecting our spouses than making an idol of marriage. Being a patriotic American in the right way is a beautiful thing. It's an important thing. And I think that many Americans are so naive that they buy this, I don't want to be a Christian nationalist. That is we should laugh in the face of anybody who even uses the term Christian nationalism. We're far less political than we ought to be if we're properly political. Abraham Lincoln and George Washington and John Adams were not Christian nationalists. They were patriotic Americans. They understood the beauty of what we have here. Every American needs to understand that beauty.
Yeah, they were Americans because they were Christians. Another little Praxis Circle story is that George Weigel had me read a couple of books after I'd read 8 of them that he had written before we interviewed. And I'm pretty convinced that one of them was basically showed how John Paul II was a Polish nationalist.
Well, of course. Look, you can be a nationalist. You can be a nationalist the way Abraham Lincoln and George Washington were nationalists, or you can be a nationalist the way Hitler was a nationalist. Nationalism is neutral.
Yeah.
So this idea that nationalism is a bad idea, I'll tell you what's a bad idea. Globalism
Yeah,
is a bad
yeah,
idea.
yeah.
Communism is a bad idea. Let's get it right.